That's
Zach,
what
why is stuff
That's true. Zach might be the rage monster.
by far, no doubt about it.
Okay. We did objective 103 yesterday, right? Does it look at the problems we're getting ready to do? Does this not look like the exact same, right?
Right.
Okay. The only reason that I have notes over this is because the two on the back, but let's get there really quick. 104 and 103 are basically the same, but this is so important to what we want to do in geometry. So we're going to just keep saying this Pythagorean theorem stuff until we get to next week where we learn the trig stuff. But right triangle, that's 40% of your end of the year test. So what is this Pythagorean theorem? A squared, b squared, c squared. And then the little note is that c is always the hypotenuse. C, Big Daddy C, is always the hypotenuse. A and B are the legs. Doesn't matter which leg is which. C is always the hypotenuse. This is like yesterday when you were not given a triangle. I sketched one for you, which you'll have to do on your own. The length of one of the legs is 6. So put that on your picture on a leg. 6. Right here. There's a leg. 6. The hypotenuse is 13. Put that on the hypotenuse. That's the big side that doesn't touch the right angle. There you go. And then we're going to try to find the other leg. So let's go to labeling these things. 6. What letter am I going to get that?
A.
A. And then the other leg is B, and the hypotenuse is C. So I'm going to go A squared, B squared, C squared. A squared is 6 squared. So I'll put 6 squared. B squared I don't know. So B squared. And C squared is 13 squared. So this is one where you go 6 squared plus B squared is 13 squared. What do I do next? Yeah, I'll subtract 6 squared over there. So I'm going to go minus 6 squared, minus 6 squared. I'm going to just do it with my calculator right now. B squared is 13 squared minus 6 squared. Looks like 133. Hold that thought, don't circle anything yet. B squared is 133. I want you to look at the answers A and C. A is for the people who get here and just jump the gun and go 133, I see 133 and I'm done. That's not the right answer. B squared is 133. What do you got to do to unsquare your B? Square root it. So you're not really done until you put a square root here, square root here. And what did we say about squares and square roots? That's going to be important in just a second. They cross out. So B is square root of 133. So it is C. They put A there to make sure that you understand that B squared is 133. That's not the answer though. B is square root of 133. All right, next one up. This one's easier. And most often they're going to give you a picture. We got to call A, B, and C. So what do we call this one?
A.
A, because it's a leg. Is this a leg as well?
Yeah.
So it's B. The one thing we don't know is the hypotenuse. C. So this, how do we set up this equation?
19 squared minus 6 squared.
Plus 6 squared.
Or, yeah.
Plus 6 squared. Plus 6 squared is C squared. A squared plus B squared is C squared. This is more normal for like a Pythagorean theorem. We don't know the hypotenuse. Pretty easy. 19 squared and 6 squared makes, what do we got? 397? 397? Okay. So 397 is C squared. What do I do about that? Square root it. Alright, so I'm going to go calculator. I'm going to go say square root 397. Square root 397, square root 397. Oh, here's what happens. I don't see that. This is what kills me, is when that happens to you, you're doing it on your Kindle, and you put it in, and you did all this work, and you're really sure you did it right. Immediately what happens is you do this. You're like, I need help. And I'm going to come over there, and I'm going to be like, okay, you got the right answer, but let's look.
You gotta toggle it.
20.
When that happens, go back and check and see if this sentence is in the problem. Round to the nearest whole number. So you've done everything right. How can I get that into a regular number? Toggle it, which for people who don't know, that's this one. So as soon as I hit it, oh, it's 19.9, and I'm supposed to go to the nearest whole number, unlike what we did earlier today. So this rounds up to what?
20.
20. So you did it. You had the right answer, but you needed to go and make it a decimal and then round it up. So we got that. Okay, we're gonna go to the back side, but who's gonna shoot this one? It's gotta be somebody in the second or farther. Kimberly got it?
Oh yeah.
Kaya got it? Kimberly made it
Yeah,
yesterday.
go Kimberly.
Kimberly's got it. Oh no. She might not be able to catch it, but she can shoot it.
Just gotta hit it.
You can do it from wherever.
Obi?
Oh, I thought that was going in too. Leslie's got
Leslie
the
with the layup.
She's got the assist to follow through. All right, here's the whole point of me even doing notes over this. You already knew how to do that front page stuff. I mean, I guess the rounding one, it was good to see that. But this pops up too, and this is an immediate hand raiser as well. As soon as this one pops up, and you go, whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
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 Okay, it's still this is still Pythagorean theorem, a squared, b squared, c squared. Let's start labeling. What do you want to call that?
Hey.
A. It's a leg, it's A.
Hey, baby.
This one's going to be B, and this is C. Okay, we're going to go a squared, b squared, c squared. Now, this says square root of 21. That's your A. So square root of 21 squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, we just mentioned like a minute and a half ago, when you have square roots and squares, what happens?
They cancel.
Yeah, so this is our equation, but square root of 21 squared just crosses all that out. It's just now just 21. Square roots and squares cancel out. So just 21.
Would you put X where B is? Would you put X?
Yeah, that's fine too. It's a letter. But if you wanted to go 20 square root of 21 squared plus x squared equals 8 squared. Yeah, same thing. We're trying to find out this. All right, so minus 21 from each side, and b squared equals 64 minus 21 is
43.
43. So b squared is 43, and then we're going to square root that. And b is square root of 43. Now that is answer D, and on mine that's like hole punched out, but that's definitely it. It's right here. Yours probably hole punched out too.
Yep.
But it's square root of 43. And we got two of these in a row where you have the square root thing. Alright, so next one up. Another one. This is the exact same, just different numbers. Square root of 26, x, and 7. A, B, C. So how do I set this one up?
A squared plus b squared.
A squared, b squared, c squared. So a squared is, yes. So square root of 26 squared, so it'll be just 26. Then I don't know what that is, but I do know this is 7 squared. Square roots and squares, what happens? Cancels out. So you just have 26 plus b squared is 49. Then what? Yep, subtract 26. That is going to bring you to b squared is 23. And we square root it. And you get b is square root of 23, which is c. Now, I just want to show you, because some of you have gotten the hang of being able to do it all in one move in the calculator.
I was about to say, I'm just going to stick to what I've been doing.
Okay. Here's the difference though. Some of you go, okay, when we have the hypotenuse, we're going to end up doing the 7 squared minus this thing squared. So I'm going to just, and you do it under a square root. So I'm going to go 7 squared. But I'm not going to go minus square root of 26 squared. I'm not even going to go minus 26 squared. I'm just going to say minus 26. If this thing is square rooted, then I square it and it just basically cancels out. So that's square root of 23.
That's easier.
Coming up to this one here that we did a second ago, if you have the hypotenuse, you go 8 squared minus this thing squared, but this thing squared is just
I
under
got
root
the
C.
answer even not even putting it in a square root.
Yeah.
The only thing I did was I did 8 squared minus square root of 20, what is that, 21?
Did you do like this?
Yeah.
And then you come out here and,
No, I don't even go out there. Just put it in put it in there now.
like that?
See, like this side out.
Yeah, hit enter. What?
you had it squared underneath. I got you. So you were like a squared minus, like right there.
Yeah.
It still worked out? Yeah, it still works out. And it's still the same process of, your calculator just knows that that square will cross out. So that one works. Or like this, a squared minus, come outside and square it, that one works. Or just knowing that there's no point in doing the square root and the square together. I like that. And then you gotta know you gotta square root this. Gotta know so. And now that's it.
He's the one that started writing it all out.
Alright,
That's
I
okay.
didn't make it difficult.
Zach, you got this?
I can say that.
I got it.
I have an exercise in this.
Yeah, this is 104. If you haven't got 103,
Oh, I think I got one of them.
well, this one's 104. So oh, you've already. I think you've already got one.
She messed with me.